I think there's a lot of cross pressure for voters, regardless of what party they're in. I'm certain that there are a lot of Democrats who do believe inflation is a top concern of theirs, who are going to vote for the Democrat in their race. Just in the same with Republicans. So I think when you look at this, these races across the country in both the House and the Senate are so close that anybody who is predicting one side or the other is going to come out with a big surge or something, I just think is not looking at the reality of poll after poll, and not just polls, but I've been knocking on doors out there, and you get a real sense of this cross pressure that I'm talking about. People who are both concerned about a given issue, whether it be Dobbs or inflation, at the same time are worried about election security and some of the things that Liz Cheney and the president talked about tonight. So I think that cross pressure, how that breaks now, I don't think anybody can predict that.
Well, and Bob Barr, I can see you shaking your head, and I always think back to James Carville. He sort of laid the law down that it's the economy, stupid. He's a Democrat, and I feel as though that line has never been the single, delivery of the Democratic Party. I'm curious about whether you think this was a mistake for them to have multi-purpose meanings of messaging throughout the country, where they thought each message might be best. Or do you think it's just too big a tent? What are your thoughts about what Joe Trippi just said?
Well, I think Joe is doing a tremendous job of putting lipstick on a pig. To say
and
that
we'll see on Tuesday, Bob.
Because Warnock is so close in Georgia, that is good for the Democrats is nonsense. If you have an incumbent senator in a purple state like Georgia, who is neck and neck with a candidate that really on paper has no qualifications, that does not speak well for the Democrats. That tells me that the Democrats are at least in Georgia, for a shellacking, and Stacey Abrams is way behind Brian Kemp. The messaging is all on the Republican side because the issues are all on the Republican side. The economy, energy, immigration, crime, those are issues that people do care about, whether they're Democrat or Republican. And the fact that the Democrats have not been able to come up with a clear message says a lot about two things. One, that there is no message because the administration is handling things so poorly across the board. But secondly, there is no leadership in the Democrat Party. Chuck Schumer should have been, he's a smart man, he should have been able to come up with a message. Nancy Pelosi is a very smart lady, a savvy politician. For neither of them to come up with any coherent message says that there's no leadership in the Democrat Party. And that's one reason they're going to do very, very poorly next week.
Salena, let me get you to jump in on that. We live in an increasingly complicated world. We are inundated with messaging, and it's no longer just on the freeway and a billboard. It is in our hand at all times. We're given alerts. We're given, overwhelming messaging with, bizarrely funded campaigns that blanket the airwaves. It is very, very hard to keep things sorted. And if you think about Donald Trump and Make America Great Again, it was just so simple and so brilliant, and it permeated everything. And now if you even see a red hat, you just assume it says that message. Do you suppose that that is the grave error of any politician today? If you don't have just one bumper sticker, you're done for.
Well, I've been on the ground in all the states that we've just talked about, in Georgia, in my home state of Pennsylvania, in Ohio, in Arizona, in Michigan, in Wisconsin. And I don't think anyone's been more surprised than me, other than voters, by the Democrats' inability to understand what's most important to voters right now. And that is, I feel like a broken record talking about it all the time, but it is inflation, it is crime, it is the border, and abortion was an issue. But that peaked and sort of went away.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.